Hi, everyone. This is James and Florence, and we have a very special guest, comedian and actor Keith Lyle from Las Vegas. And we are going to be doing a lot of stuff today. This is going to be a fun show. So tell your friends, tell your animals, tell your pets, fans, anybody, because they're going to enjoy this show. We love Keith. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm great. I'm great. It's good to see you guys. We don't hang out enough. Um, um,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
miss you for
we
sure.
talk a
But
lot, but we don't hang out enough.
Yeah, that is for sure. But Florence, we wanted to talk about first of all, there's some things going on with the Diddy trial. Diddy again is trying to get out. He's trying to get. He said he's not a violent a person. He's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah,
He's going to
I've
go
never
home.
seen any videos of him being violent. I mean, it's not in
Exactly.
his music
Yep.
or anything. I mean, come
Crazy,
on.
crazy.
He's gonna go home, be a good boy, and he needs to be out. He'll even wear an ankle bracelet. And the judge is having no thing about it, but this is going to take a long time. And I think what's going to end up happening is he's just going to get 2 3 more years. I'm telling you, he's going to get soft time for all the things he did.
I hope
But
not.
yeah, it's just horrible. And then we wanted to talk about, and the next time we promise we're going to talk about the Amy Bradley situation, all the sightings. What are some of the vibes that people are talking about online about it right now, Florence?
Well, definitely on TikTok, there is a part of the TikTok population that is determined to find her and bring her home. Not everyone, but a lot of people believe she is out there because of all the sightings, and there's been many. And again, the parents believe in their heart her brother, Brad Bradley, who is also here on X and on YouTube and a TikTok and a bunch of other platforms. They all feel that she is still with us. She's out there somewhere, and they just want answers. Either way, they just want answers. They want her to come home. And yes, people are determined to find her. And I know that they're doing a lot of interviews. The family's doing interviews. And of course, those TikTok detectives are trying to break the case. And yeah, I'm telling you, the Netflix docuseries just brought this all back 27 years later.
What's
Yeah.
interesting is there's some groups and the TikTokers sometimes. I saw one the other day that literally she looks like a cute 18-year-old and she has a crystal ball that she looks into,
Oh,
and she
yeah.
has 500,000 followers. So it blows me away. TikTok's its own world, but there is a group. I watch probably 20, 30, sometimes 40 cases, true crime cases a night on YouTube, and their groups, the best one is this diving group. There's people that have been lost for decades, and these guys will find people where the police couldn't, and the police hate these guys because they're
Yeah,
making
yeah.
them look bad. But these guys have so far recovered, I believe, over 30 people that have been missing, some for 50 years. And they
Wow.
find out that they drove, like, this one cute couple in high school. One was a valedictorian. They could never find them. They thought they were kidnapped and they were in a cult and all this other stuff. All it literally was is they took a back road and they went into this creek, and they were found years later with their car, and just tragedy. But these guys are bringing closure. I'm going to bring up their name on the next show because I really like the work they do. But what's funny is when they tell the police then, get out of here,
They don't
shut
like them.
up, you just
Well,
solved something we could never solve. So,
Well, the
uh,
police are busy. They got a lot of cases and they're understaffed, and people
yeah.
on
They are.
TikTok have nothing better to do.
Yeah.
We've got
Oh, the
nothing
tick,
to do, nothing fulfills us. So, you know what we'll do? We'll go diving into these lakes or whatever, looking for
yeah.
lost people that, because the cops just are too busy, like writing tickets. I get it. It happens here every time our lake. We have a man-made lake, Lake Mead, and it keeps depleting because of water usage. And they found all kinds of, they found blue barrel with a dead body in it, and they think it was a mob hit. Da, 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 da. And it's just some. someone that some lady had her husband killed. It's just
The
they
usual.
find people who've actually fallen into the lake and they couldn't find them. They didn't know where they went. Got murky, and then now they found them 40 years later.
I
So
remember
real
the first
CSI
time.
stuff.
Yeah, the first time I really got into true crime was in the 80s, I believe it was, when HBO became a thing. Dr. Bodden, and I believe he
Yeah,
was the guy that was with JFK or something. I forget all his things. He did a show called Autopsy, and my
yeah,
gosh, this show was amazing. And
yeah,
he would go in. There was this one lady, she had six husbands die. Six
yes, yes,
husbands die. Never was even thought of.
What a
Sweetest
coincidence.
lady. Yeah,
yeah.
sweetest lady in the world. What she would do is she found out that Drano and Pine Sol was
Yeah.
sweet tasting. So she would put a tiny bit in his drinks every day, and he couldn't tell because it was sweet. And over months, it would destroy his organs and it would kill him, and they couldn't detect it. It would
Yep. And
just
she
look
would
like
just
organ failure.
he would come home from work and the old fashioned would be ready for him right there at the dinner table.
Yeah, see, old fashioned. Here's some
Yep.
iced tea.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
With
but it
the,
was unbelievable. So Dr.
the
Bodden
radiator
got it.
fluid.
Yeah, he got into it. And the cases, if you ever get a chance, I believe it's still on HBO in the past. He did one with this scientist or professor. His wife died, and his wife was much younger than him. He mummified her
Oh
in his
wow.
house. In his house. And he dressed her. I mean, it was the
Oh,
most bizarre. There are some cases, if you go on YouTube, that are just but most people don't like to know the news. They don't like to know these bad stories. I know on
Well,
Facebook people go, Jim, you're always sharing bad stories. But I think they're fascinating that these people are doing these insane things, and it's just like everyday stuff. It doesn't even make the news anymore. I mean, it's
it,
just
it's
insane.
it's hard to believe that human beings, have this within them. That's why I say like police or investigators have a tough job, especially in today's age with so many TikTok and YouTube sleuths out there. They're trying to do things the way that, following the law and the chain of custody. And TikTokers don't necessarily have to do all that. And, they're just naming names of, oh, this guy was close to this one. And like, whoa, slow down. There, we saw that in the
They go
Kohlberger
by the
case.
law. Yeah, they go by the law of NCIS.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They got their degree in CSI,
Yeah.
uh,
yeah.
Google, and it's like just slow down because you're wrecking lives here. Let's take it easy, and it's just there's a the police and investigators see the worst of human society, and I think in a
Mhm.
show like NYPD Blue back in those days, you saw them try to bring that to life, and that's why it was so critically acclaimed. If you go back and watch those old episodes, they're kind of quirky based on today's type of the way they tell stories on television, but some of the brutality of the crimes that they describe are just, it's hard to believe that those things existed, but they do exist. And now, because of internet and social media, you could find stories like this that have truly happened. Usually it happens in Florida, by the way, but
Or
yeah,
Texas, Florida or
yeah, Florida
Texas,
and Texas,
but
right?
yeah, and the grandfather of all shows that we have to give a shout out to, one of my favorite shows of all times, the Great Hill Street Blues.
Yes.
They did a show. They were going to get canceled. And Stephen Bochco said when the network contacted him, they were going to cancel the show. And the network boss said the only problem is you just broke the record for Emmy nominations
Yeah, they
because
were going to cancel it. Yeah, we used to
yeah
videotape that one. My mom loved that show, so we watched it all the
oh
time.
My
and
show is Law and Order SVU.
Yeah,
I
oh
grew up
good show.
watching that,
sure.
Mariska
We watched that.
Hargitay, Chris Maloney, and I think that's where I started getting into true crime because I was just, oh my God, I was obsessed with that show.
Now, speaking of true crime and getting away with it, allegedly, is Diddy. what I love about your career is you've met a lot of these celebrities and you've met them in real life on movie sets and on different things. Why don't you tell us a little tidbits that you have about Diddy?
It's been an interesting life between the casino and acting and stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Met a lot of people. I don't think about it until it comes up when, Diddy is at a trial and his ex-girlfriend's telling a story, and it's so graphic and disgusting about the freak offs. Just there was so much detail, and it was totally how I remembered him.
Really?
I mean, someone
Wow.
has to hold the camera. I worked with him on a film called Get Him to the Greek. I was Jonah Hill's stand-in for 6 days,
Oh,
and
yeah.
um, the stand-in is not that big of a thing, but it was a set where there was a lot of movement, and we spent some time with those guys, especially Diddy. I couldn't figure out why we were filming out in front of MGM Grand at like 4 in the morning. He gets hit by a cab, and he's running down the street. Then they switch in the stunt guy. But he had so much security by him, and I just thought it was so weird. And then they were setting up a shot, and he was sitting next to me. We were doing something, and I said, I have to. I was thinking how weird it was that you had so much security around you, and then I realized why. He goes, and he's like, "Yeah, why you think?" And I was like, "Well, because Tupac was killed right around the corner from here, and you were in the car with Biggie, so whatever was going on could still be going on." And he's like, "That's exactly right. You're a smart man." And he was very nice to me. I told him that we had a cat called P Kitty, which he thought was cute, which wasn't true. I just thought it was funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, and he was really nice to me. I mean, we had a nice conversation. I think it was in that era where he was a nice guy. Another guy that was on the set was Russell Brand, and he's got his own
Okay.
form of
Oh.
trouble. And we had an excellent connection. As a matter of fact, he tweeted my name out. This is when Twitter was just
Oh.
starting, and I picked up like 70,000, 80,000 followers.
So
And
you
I
got a
asked her,
shout out.
yeah. Back then it was a
Wow.
big deal, and
Wow.
this is
Yeah.
like 2010 or something. And I was like, "Hey, is it okay if I tweet at your fans or tweet, like your boot to them?" And he's like, "Yes, but be warned, they're very like all encompassing. They're
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they were very nice, and some of them are still I'm still friendly with online." But that was interesting. And but P Diddy was nothing but nice. Russell was nothing but nice. This was before Katy Perry. He was just a normal guy. Yeah, he was
Now
a
I
normal guy. We talked about stand up. He was really great. Both those guys. Jonah was. He's I think naturally as a person just a little
Yep.
socially weird with people. So that's fine. But the other guys, I mean, it was now on a Hangover. Everyone was. I don't want to say it was close, but it was a lot of ball breaking, joking around, and like I was one of the guys, and um, I had worked with Bradley Cooper on another film called War Dogs, and
oh
he
wow.
remembered me like 8 years later from being in The Hangover with him for a couple
Wow.
of
Wow.
days. So I thought
That's
we talked for about
awesome.
20 minutes, and he was great. But yeah, so Diddy. So I did spend some time with him, and we talked, and he was
Now were
doing a
you
Ciroc party,
surprised?
invited us to a Ciroc party. Like, oh, that was nice up in
Wow.
Tao. Like, he was just a nice guy. I didn't see
So you,
anything. I saw he had a guy that was doing all his tweets. And I think he replaced the guy that would hold his. He had a guy that would just hold an umbrella for him out in the heat.
oh
Um,
yeah, I
but
remember him.
yeah, remember
I
him? He
remember
became
he was in
famous.
the videos. He was in his
Yes,
videos.
yes. So
Oh
he made that guy a
wow.
millionaire. So he replaced him with a
Yeah.
guy who does all his tweeting. He was just a little fat black guy, and he was a nice guy too. And I seem to remember Black China being on the set for some reason, and I
Oh,
Oh
remember her
wow.
maybe.
because she had
Yeah.
come to my craps table with Tyga. And I
Mm.
Yeah.
ID'd him, and I didn't know who either one of them was very early in their career. Tyga had
Ka-
just had
That's
his first song.
the Kardashian clan right there.
Yeah, he had just had his first song pop, so people were kind of coming up to him at the table, but we ID'd him. Like, hey, you got your ID. You have to have an ID at the casino no matter who you are. I don't care how old you are. But they both of them look young. And so they were just really crappy about getting their ID out. And I look at it, they're like 21, 22 years old. I'm like, dude, like, you're so young. Like, everyone's going to ask for your ID. Like, we don't, like, look at me. You think I know who Tyga is and Black China? Just a couple of people on the table. I don't know. And
Yeah. Before the
they were,
Kardashians, I didn't know who they were either.
yeah. Yeah, so I think I want to say that on the set that a couple of days Black China was there, but
Yeah.
at my memory, it could be, maybe it wasn't. It just seemed it looked like her. It could have been any lady with short blonde, dyed hair. But otherwise,
Now,
I didn't see anything peculiar
I was just gonna say,
on the set at any time.
speaking of the ladies, so when the whole thing with Diddy came out, especially with Cassie and
Mhm.
all that with the hotel and the video, so you had not seen anything even close to that on the movie set. So you were
No,
totally surprised by
absolutely.
all of it?
I
Wow.
would say, yeah, surprised. I mean, surprised in the sense that I didn't see this kind of behavior coming from him in my experience with him. That doesn't mean that's not who he is. And, when it comes to famous people, I mean, obviously he's a control guy. Everything's about, this whole situation is about control. The hitting is about anger and not being able to handle his frustration and controlling her. That's the whole thing. I didn't see any of that, but those are things a lot of times that happen behind closed doors, especially with predators. They'll keep things in the public real quiet and almost like the lady who had 6 husbands. Oh, she's such a nice lady, nice old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're married to her. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Diddy's such a nice guy. Sure, if you're a dude who he's working with, if you're the one
Yeah.
that is dating him, it's a whole different story. So, but I saw in on any of the sets really, I didn't see anything. I heard some stories about other actors and people who were difficult to work with, but nothing about in as far as which set was more laid back. The Hangover was way more. It was the most laid back set I've ever been on, and that was the first one. So like, and they were telling me like, this is your first thing. Nothing's going to compare after this because this is the easiest, best set with the best actors and best crew. And it really was. War Dogs was pretty good too, but by then everyone was kind of like famous and in their own little space. So it wasn't as talkative. People had stuff to do. There'd be a break and they'd have to go take a call or a meeting or something.
Now, were there times that, well, let's say a celebrity comes up. I remember one time years and years ago, I was a kid and I was so excited to go gamble and all this stuff. And I saw Charles Bronson,
Oh yeah,
and they
Wow.
gave Charles Bronson his own table. And he was gambling. He was doing real well. He's very nice to the dealer. They seem to have a good rapport. And what happens when a celeb comes? I know a lot has been made of what's his name of UFC, the head of
Dana White.
UFC, Dana White, who loves to gamble. Do you guys offer them separate tables, or do you just say you're a regular person, you're gonna bet with us? How do you guys handle celebs?
Well, it depends on what they want. Like Kevin Smith, the director, this was back in the early 2000s, was on my blackjack game, $25 blackjack game out in public where anyone could have played with him. And he looks like Silent Bob. I mean, he looks like him. So, I mean, you've seen
Yeah.
him in his movies. So I recognized him right away. I wasn't in show business or anything at that point. And so I was like, "Oh my God, Silent Bob!" And he gave me the Silent Bob hello, and we started talking, and we were talking about this, and just a really nice guy. He just wanted to be around people. Other celebrities don't want to be around people. I was in a salon one time, one of the rooms. It's not private gaming, but it's um, more sequestered, where it's away from the public. It's usually they call it high limit gambling or the salon. Uh, and it was J Lo and her Mark Anthony, and they weren't playing big money. They wanted a no minimum, no minimum table. So they're playing like $10,
Oh
$15,
my
maybe even
God.
$5 a hand. I was just standing in the other thing at another table in case they wanted to switch out or they wanted to keep people in nearby in case something happened. And they were just laughing and playing and not spending any money and uh, running the butler around, back up at this place, they didn't have cocktail waiters. It was a butler in the salon and just ran him around and then gave him $20 at the end. And that was it. Barely tipped the dealers. It was just,
Wow.
Jesus.
I
someone
I
else, Ben Affleck, when he was going through his stuff, they would take him up to the private gaming because to be in that, you have to have a certain minimum bet and line of credit. And they took him up the back way so no one could see him, which is great because he's one of the best tippers of all time. So, he didn't want to be around people. I think because he was still married and had his assistant with him, but that's fine.
or his niece, yeah.
Dana,
But
right.
but what you know
Dana
what
is a
was
great tipper as well, but he likes when people see him, so he'll like play in the high limit gaming area, but you could still see inside.
Yeah.
So people will see him, and he likes when people come up to him a little bit, but you have to be kind of cool about it, you know. Then there are other guys like Little Wayne, who was on the table next to me, and but he was so high he could barely keep his head up. Like I don't know why he
Oh
was
my
gambling
God.
or betting because I don't know, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was does he
Can't
even know how he's
understand
playing? They're
him.
like, don't worry about it.
I still can't understand him. I had one of our patients when we first started our business in Marin. I guess J Lo's sister or cousin lived in Marin County, and she had told me, and this is alleged, but she had told me that she went to the movies, and all of a sudden this girl just stands up and goes in the aisle and just starts talking, and she's on her phone and she's talking very loud, and she looks and she said, "That's Jennifer Lopez." Well, Ben Affleck, I guess 5 minutes later, just left. He
Yeah,
left the theater ticked off because he was embarrassed. And someone literally said in the middle of the movie, J Lo, shut the hell
yeah.
up.
She's
and
not a
the
nice
cr-
person. I can
and
tell you from my experience.
everybody just standing ovation. It was like, what a diva. That if that story's true,
Yeah, there's a lot of
that's
reputation. Yeah,
unbelievable.
her
Yeah, the rules don't
reputation's not
apply to
great.
her. Yeah, she's not very generous. The story of her, Ben Affleck is very generous. The first time they were going out back 25 years ago, he's a gambler, but he's a big tipper, and he threw a 5,000. He lost some money, but he threw a $5,000 chip at the dealers on a baccarat game, I think, or blackjack, and I think it was a baccarat game, and she grabbed it and said that was too much and left him 300. And I
Oh,
know one of the dealers that was
No.
there, so I know this
Wow.
absolutely happened. That day, he bought her mom as a birthday gift a Mercedes. So it's like
mm.
right then and there, I was like, I went right home and I downloaded all her music illegally off of Napster. Didn't listen to it, but I wanted to stick it to her the way she was sticking it to.
And
So
her, I read a thing too. One of my friends was in Japan. I had done some writing about Bruiser Brody, and they were huge
uh
fans of Bruiser Brody. God rest his soul, but my favorite wrestler, and he said that she went over to Japan on their Broadway. I don't know what it's called, but she was going to sing at one of her a musical or something, but she didn't really say a lot in America because I think she was worried if it was going to be accepted. Well, after one night they canceled the show,
right,
and they
yeah,
said she just can't sing. And it was like when she did Selena, her fans kept thinking she was singing. She never sang. If she can't carry a tune, she uses auto tune a lot. And what ended up happening, I remember watching an interview with Selena's family, and they said, did you ever let her sing? And they said, yeah, we let her sing the first song, and in 20 seconds we asked her to stop.
yeah, yeah.
But she's got the look, she's got the attitude.
Yeah,
Everybody
we asked her
loves.
to sing solo. Solo, we can't hear it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just. I mean, here you got
Yeah, well, if
Selena.
you look at her career, everything she's done, like she dated P. Diddy when she wanted to have her music career. Then, she was married to a dancer. Then she was with Ben Affleck to get her acting career going. Then Mark Anthony, and she got her street cred as a Hispanic. And then, A-Rod to get some business stuff going so she could have business, because he's a businessman. And then Affleck again because her acting career stalled. It's just, and I knew that they would break up because. What I know of the people who have dealt with Ben Affleck, whether it's in show business or the casino, he's a super nice guy, and she's super needy. So it's
Yeah.
just not gonna happen. It's nice to rekindle those old things and try to, remember that spark we used to have, and that'll work for a little while. But unless you've changed as a person to not being so needy, and I get it if you that insecurity of not being as talented as everyone thinks you are. I mean, she has great fans, she has a great career, but I knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
He should have stayed with Jennifer Garner, the mother
Yeah.
of his children. She seems so down to earth to me.
Yeah, again, we don't know what goes on. We don't know.
True.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
True.
sure. I feel like I'm a good husband, and but I know I'm a pain in the tuchus. So I don't know how my wife does it. So it's
We
I'm
all
sure
are.
people
We're all
We don't know
human.
what goes on, you know.
All men are pains. What
Yeah,
was I going to say?
and when men get together and they complain about their wives, it's women get together and complain about their husbands, but we
Yeah,
all go home and love each other. So,
yeah.
however it works.
True.
Now, when you did, who was one that you literally, when you saw, what was the most money you ever saw won by anyone?
Let's see. There's been millions. I've seen like a poker player, Phil Ivey, starts with 500,000
Oh,
line of credit. He is a very
icon.
difficult person to deal to. Um, he's not a nice guy. There were times I would bust his chops a little bit, but he's not a nice person, not nice to deal with. And I have no problem with him wanting to be an advantage gambler, trying to have an advantage or whatever. But his attitude was really hard. But he's won and lost millions at a time. I know someone who's dealt to Bruno Mars, like the rumor of Bruno Mars owing $50 million. That is not true. I've actually seen. I have a record of it somewhere. I promised the guy I wouldn't show it, of his rating from the computer. A picture of his rating from the computer at MGM. His average bet is around 75,000. His line of credit's only 20 million, which is still very high because lines of credit are usually 10% of what you have liquid.
Yeah,
So the highest line of credit I ever saw was the guy who owned Hustler, Larry Flint, and he had like between 8 and 10 million. And guy at the time owned half of Los Angeles as a
yeah.
like. So I'm very surprised they went that high with him. Now he never took out his full line of credit, so he's taken money out and put money back and take money out. So over time, he's won and lost a lot of money, but it's nowhere near. They wouldn't let him get that far, even though they have a contract with him for however much money he would make or what 50 million they would never let go. I was surprised they went 20 million. I was really surprised they went 20 million.
Now, now for athletes, I know a lot of Antoine Walker, I believe, is the
Yes.
most famous that I remember for the Celtics, who literally lost his whole life
Mhm.
savings. Excuse me, and he was a huge. He got a lot of money over the years. Who is someone like? Let's say someone comes in and they lost 10 million, and they are starting to they hit their limit. Does the casino just say, "Hey, it's on him"? They're gonna, whatever. He's paying. He's a grown adult. Or did they kind of say, "Hey, why don't you take a break?" Or why don't we slow down? How does the casino
There is
react
no
to that?
breaks. There's no breaks. They may negotiate some of that debt and go, all right, well, you owe 10 million, just give us 8.5. But when you take out a line of credit and you sign, it's called a marker. When you sign that marker slip, you're writing a check essentially.
Hmm.
And if you don't repay it, it's considered a bad check. So Antoine Walker came to light because he didn't pay back his line of credit, and they wanted. Hold on, my dog's in here. They wanted his. They had to arrest him. You get arrested,
Oh,
and he got
wow.
arrested, and you owe that money back. Barkley kind of went the same way.
Yeah.
He owed, and he just didn't know he owed it. He's out. Barkley's another super great tipper, great guy, and he's like, I just didn't know I owed it, man. And so he just wrote him a check and paid it back. And there's fees to collect and all that other stuff, but yeah, that happens a lot of times. In the smaller players, you'll get a guy with like a $20,000 line of credit. He'll lose it, and they'll want it's called this trip only. So they'll want an extension of their line of credit for this trip only, and they'll give him another like 5 or 10 grand to try. And if he loses that, they make he's got to pay that back too. So
Yikes.
those are typical. Like if, that typically happens more. People in the lower end. Um, and the thing is, when they win, let's say they win 20,000, you want to make sure that they lose it back at your casino.
Oh
So
yeah.
Yeah.
My dad knew a card counter, and this was before they had the 5 and 6 deck shoes. It was just one deck years ago, and it was fascinating. My dad said, looking at how much money he would make, and now it's impossible when you got so many decks. Is
well,
there
they are
is there
really on the card
still?
counters now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He actually, I knew a guy. One of our patients was a professional gambler, and I guess he had written some books on card counting. And he says when he goes in, he has to use a disguise, and even then, they use computerized digital, photos or whatever, and they'll ask him to leave. They don't make a scene. They just said you can
Exactly
play
right.
any game but this game. You
Yep.
can't play blackjack. So go play
They've
roulette.
had facial recognition software, yeah, for like 25 years or so, 20
Yeah.
25 years. And those TVs you see in the casino that are showing ball games, they aren't there so you can watch the games. They're there so you
Yep.
look up and they can get a picture of your face.
Yep.
That's what they're there for. They couldn't care what's on, they don't care. They just want you looking up so they can get a good shot of your face. And you see it every day, a card counter, and they get mad sometimes, like, I didn't, you're already on me. They keep a book. It's Griffin Security keeps a book, and that's how it works.
Now, the
Um,
people that want to know what a card counter, like when you just have one deck, you count the amount of like aces, tens, any card with
Face
a
cards,
10.
yeah.
Yeah, and face cards. So let's say you have a six and you've counted hardly any face cards. You don't hit because you know a 10's going to come up. So that's how you do it. And the card counters, I guess the most famous they made a movie out of, those guys
Yeah,
from
I remember 'em.
MIT or
Yeah, I
somewhere.
remember
Yeah.
because I was always a craps dealer, and I learned blackjack on the fly. My craps crew got in trouble, and they're like, "You're dealing blackjack today," and I go, "I don't know how to do that." They go, "You got an hour to learn, or you're fired." And I was like, "Uh oh."
Wow.
Uh-oh. And that
Casinos.
was at the time of the MIT people. And like, I look back and they could always, I'm sure they looked at me. I wasn't a very strong dealer, but I was smart enough to know that if there's a bunch of people sitting on the table and one was betting $3, another guy was betting 25, and then he'd pump his bet up to 200, I was like, something's not right about this. So I just turn and look at the boss and go, checks play. Checks are what we call chips. And they come over and look like, okay, that's one of the people. And, they test out their systems and test out the people they're working with. And so you'll see the card counters starting to work their craft at some of the local casinos or the smaller low end casinos, because when they get good, they'll go to the big ones, because the big ones, there's so many people, it's hard to catch them. They're busy looking at everything,
Yeah.
because the gaming business, thanks to corporations, has changed. It used to be the number one job of anyone working in the casino was to protect the money,
Yep.
game protection at all costs. And now it's turned more into like, oh, make sure you're nice to everyone. Make sure you get their player's card because they want to be able to market to them. Make sure, you don't say they're betting too much because so we overcomp them and everything else. So it's all this other nonsense instead of actually watching the game like you're supposed to, like it was in the old days.
Yeah. Now,
And my
segue.
father-in-law, yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
was just
Paul.
saying, my father-in-law started the casino business in 1961. He was casino manager at a couple different places over the years. He worked in the business for a very long time. He worked for the mob guys, all this stuff, and it was always protect the money, protect the money. And it wasn't because they were mob guys; it was just that's what the job was. And now
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we want them to be here. We want to get, make sure that they come 2, 3 times. It's all this corporate stuff, and meanwhile, the place is getting robbed blind.
Yeah.
you know, and
Now, I wanted to go back into that. This is a great segue. My parents swore that when the mob ran Las Vegas, the mob had cheap, good food, good drinks. They treated you good. The hotels were cheap. They wanted your money gambling. And now and people will say, what do you mean the mob did a better job? And now
way
it is
better.
so corporate, they just squeeze you for every dollar. What's your views on
It's
that?
expensive.
It's really expensive. It's everything is a revenue stream now, right? Because that's kind of how corporations work. That's how our system is, right? Uh, and when you think about the mob was they had hidden overhead, the mob, right? Because you had to pay off the politicians, you had to pay off the guy back east so you don't get whacked, you had to kick up to everybody, you had all these things, you had your girlfriend you had to take care of, you had your wife and kids you had to take care of. um, Tipping was better then because of course they gave you so much stuff. You could go to the lounge and see Ike and Tina Turner for 2 drinks,
Yeah.
and now the lounge is a nightclub where you got to mortgage your house to get a cocktail, like um, and that's why people will say it was better when the mob was here because there was number one, it was a smaller town. People came, they spent their money, they spent their disposable income. Things were cheaper. Inflation. It was a different time back then as well. So your money went a little farther, right? You had things weren't as expensive, so you had more discretionary spending, right? There's no question that we know that the top 1% makes all the money and everyone else gets kind of the pit, and this has changed over the last 30, 40 years. It doesn't trickle down the way it used to. We don't have a middle class like we used to. So those middle class people are what made Las Vegas great. They can't come anymore because it's just too expensive. The corporations want every penny. And that's part of, that's real organized crime is what they're doing here with the resort fees. They do surge pricing on pizzas now in the hotels. It's a $20 pizza one day is a $40 pizza on the weekend. And
Wow.
people get sick of that. They don't want that. And when we were young, turning in our 20s, and we could come to Vegas for a party weekend, the drinks were $5 or $6. They're $20 now. Everyone, the corporations are like everything else in this country. Everything corporate is how much are people willing to spend before they won't spend it anymore. And I think Vegas right now is learning. I think we went too high. People aren't willing to spend this kind of money anymore, and that's just kind of how the marketplace is. Are you willing to spend $250 for chicken breast at Sam's Club? No, okay, then it's going to be $1.99. And if you're willing to spend $1.99, are you willing to spend $2.05? Because that's what it's going to be next week. They aren't spending $2.05, back to $1.99. That's just how all corporations are today. But it's hit Vegas hard, and people are sick of it because it's not what they're used to.
My friend was in a bakery and he said they had surge pricing. Surge pricing for donuts. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. Oh, and the Ubers and all that.
Oh, forget that.
My God.
I could expect that with Uber. I get it because that's kind of their business model, but not for restaurants, right? And don't get me started on Cake Boss because I dealt blackjack to him and he's not a nice person. He told the cocktail waitress she got drunk and told her she was too fat to wear that outfit.
Oh my God.
The Cake Boss?
Yeah, and I'm like, she's too fat to wear that outfit. What about you, dude?
Wow.
Wow.
I said, she's going to tell you you're too drunk to have that drink, man. You better calm down. That's exactly what I told him. I'm like, I don't care about this guy.
Okay, Keith. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. What are some stories about celebs that you just kind of shook your head and said, "Wow"? Some embarrassing. We have good fans and they love the dirt. So what are some
basketball
dirt?
player Charles Oakley is tried to cheat on my craps game a couple times.
Oh my God!
And I actually had to throw him off the table, and he was mad. And then we got into kind of a shouting, kind of insulting match. And I basically told him he got traded because Michael Jordan couldn't win with him, but he won with.
Oh my God!
He won with Bill Cartwright. How could you let? I mean. He couldn't win with you, but he could win with Bill Cartwright. That's why I said. That's why you're cheating because you can't win.
Wow.
So it was. He was. The dice would land, and he after the outcome of the dice, he'd try to put his bet down real fast in a winning place so he'd get paid. I'm like, I'm not paying that.
God.
And I told the boss, like, I'm not paying this. And the boss got mad and like, hey, Charles, just take up your money. You're not playing craps tonight. The rest of the night, you're not playing craps. You should have been arrested. And the pit boss got all like, oh, it's Charles Oakley. Sorry they were mean to you. I'm like, no, sorry they're mean to you. The guy's trying to literally cheat. What he did was illegal. He should be put in handcuffs. So he came the next day, he came down, and he saw me on the table. He's like, I'm not playing with this guy. And I go, yeah, that's what Jordan said about you. And he watched the guy. I kind of smiled. I'm like, I'm just kidding. And he's like, all right. He's just a jerk. And years later, I think he kind of got arrested for doing the same thing down in Mississippi, but I know he was at Cosmo because I know one of the floormen, he was playing blackjack, and when he'd have a big stack of chips, that's how he always bets, a big stack of chips with a lot of different colors in it. So it makes it hard for you to pay it, right?
What a pain, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and he doesn't tip, so it's not like, so when his blackjack game would lose, he'd go, oh, man, and he'd just kind of swing his hand and try to grab some of the chips, like while he was swinging, he would make a fast move. So it just looked like he was swatting, and he'd swat away a couple times, and then swat and grab a couple of his chips. And so he'd do things like that. Yeah. There are guys, the Maloof brothers, who used to own
Oh yeah.
the Sacramento Kings, but they owned the
Yep.
Palms. There was a couple of them, Gavin and Joe, and I've dealt to them for years. They were nice guys, but they would get drunk and they'd start losing and they get a little crappy. And Joe used to throw his chips at your stacks, your working stacks, they're called.
Oh my
You
gosh.
cleaned up money, and so you're on the stick, and he'd throw you a bunch of money and knock over your stack, and be like, you thought it was $20, but he's like, no, it was like $60 for that bet. And you're like, dude, you threw me 20, but he'd knock over your stack, so it'd look like, oh, some of that's his. So just little things like that. And you say Phil Ivey used to throw the dice real high. He's like, I got my own rules. I can do whatever I want. I'm like, no, you
Jeez.
can't. No, dude, you can't. One time,
And what's
he threw him
sad
off
is
the table.
yeah, Phil Ivey is probably, some think the greatest, poker player of all time. And I've seen him like, a lot of these poker players. That's what I wanted to ask you about because I'm a huge poker player. I stopped doing it because there's so much drama in it and drugs
They're
and all
not
that
nice
stuff.
people.
Yeah, it's a bad lifestyle. Name some. I know Negrano is really loved, and some of the other ones.
He's a nice guy.
Name Mike Matisow.
Look at him.
Some other people.
Helmuth is
What
not a
are?
nice person. I
Oh
dealt to him. He
wow.
wasn't very nice. His sister was mean at a blackjack tournament. She was playing a blackjack tournament, and she was mean to some of the other people. And I get it; it's a tournament you want to win, but like you're still someone. Everyone says she's a sweet lady, so I don't know. But I saw her. I was dealing this tournament, and she was really mean to
Wow.
some of
Keith,
the
you
people.
you have a book in you, Keith. You need to
Yeah, you got
write
to
a
write a book.
book, Keith. Write a book.
I'm trying to think who the
Jeez.
God, there was T.J. Cloutier.
I
Supposedly,
don't know who
he
that
wrote the
is.
book. He's an old guy. He wrote the book on playing poker, and
Oh.
a really nice guy. Dealt to him a million times. Dealt craps to him a million times. One of the best poker players in the world, they tell me. One of the worst craps players I've ever seen. He never won. I'd never seen him cash out ahead. Anytime he was ahead, he lost it back. It was like he hated his money. I'd ask him, like, TJ, do you hate your money? What are you doing?
Yeah.
No, I gotta keep going. I'm like, okay.
Now, you also must have seen some crazy things, and they're probably divorced by now. But are there any celebrities that you saw that were married that were with someone that they probably
Ooh,
shouldn't have been with?
There's a couple, yes. Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes, it's actually more often like just regular customers. They'll come with their wife one week and their girlfriend the next week. And I used to be so good about keeping them separate, and then just recently I made a mistake and I felt terrible about it. I called someone by the wrong name, and that was really bad because I'm a
Oh,
professional. I shouldn't be doing that, but it was. But yes, it's more often. I remember one time, guy was there with his wife. It was like their 10th anniversary, and they're drinking, having a good time. And I'm doing. This is before I was in show business, so I'm doing shtick and I'm having fun. And guy goes to the bathroom and he comes back and he said, "You told me I could have anything for this anniversary." She said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Meet Susan. I met her on the way to the bathroom, and I thought it'd be nice if we had a threesome." And she slapped him and went off
Oh,
crying. And I was
oh
like,
my!
oh,
"Oh
On their
no!" And he's
10th
like,
that's
anniversary?
"Yeah,
bad.
Come
yeah." And then
on!
he stayed there and gambled with Susan for a little while, and then goes,
Oh
"I better
my
go find her."
God.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and I was like,
God!
"Oh man, oh Jared from Subway, talk about jerk." Holy cow.
Oh,
This was
yeah.
early. This was like 2000. I just started working at the Venetian, so it was like 2002, 2003. And he was there at that big Subway convention for all the store owners and stuff. What are these
Franchises? Yeah.
franchise owners? Yeah. So this their big convention, and he's at the table, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, and he is belligerent drunk, like you could barely understand him. And at the time, I never believed he ate Subway and lost the weight. I thought he got like a stomach stapling or something. I
Yeah.
never believed him. Uh, I just something about him I just didn't believe. So he's there, and he's just being really drunk, and I'm kind of new on the property, and it was a good job back then. So I just wanted, I was nice, and just swearing and belligerent, and I'm like, we gotta. we gotta let it's yelling at other people. So they had this really nice old lady security guard, and when someone's like that, a man especially, they will see this little old lady, and she's very nice and very polite and smiles. Hey, maybe it's time to go to bed. We've had so much fun tonight. Let's maybe take our chips and call it a night. And very nice and polite. And who's going to say no to someone that's like your mom or your grandma?
Yeah.
Jared from Subway, and he's going to call her the C
Oh.
word and every name in the book.
Oh.
And you could just see the look on her face, like, and everyone knows it's Jared from Subway, and everyone just like, oh, what the hell just happened? So now security's like getting forceful. Now he's going, yeah, who I am, yeah, we know who you are. That's part of the problem. You're a jerk, is who you are, a real a-hole. So now they got him in the handcuffs. They got him in the bracelets, and they're ready to throw him off property. They're like getting his information. He's like, wait, no, get your shit and get the hell out of here. Pack your suitcases. We're throwing you right out. And then they're like,
Wow. This was
someone
before
says-
the big scandal. This was
way
before
before
the
the big scandal.
Okay.
This is way before the big scandal. And so they were like, hey, wait a minute, the Subway convention's here. Like he goes, and security's like, I don't care who's here. I don't care if Jesus himself comes down and ordains this man. He is out of here for what he just said and did. We just can't have it. And so someone like Subway corporate main like CEOs and everyone, now they're running downstairs, and I'm walking on break and I see them pleading, please, 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 please. And so I guess what ended up happening, they ended up taking him back to the room, leaving him up there, and kept him out of the casino for the rest of the weekend.
Some little punk that does commercials thinks he's freaking De Niro. Oh my God!
It was like his first taste of success in life, and so
Jeez.
I mean, to a certain extent, and we see this especially when there's an economic downturn, and maybe lower end people start coming to Vegas because they have to market it differently just to keep the rooms full. People who don't normally have money, or are the only people spending money, feel like that they have to behave a certain way because that's how rich people do it in their mind. That's what they think. Or if I make you work more, or I'm a bigger jerk, I get value for the money I'm spending. And life doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I never forget. I was at a high-end function when I had my business, and I met a billionaire for the first time in my life, and I was kind of intimidated and scared to talk to the guy, but I just walked up to him, and he was just standing by himself, and I said, hi, sir, it's nice to meet you. And I shook his hand, and I'm not going to say anything because it'll probably get me killed, but what his name, but I asked him, you have everything. You have $1 billion. You could take care of your family and your friends forever. You could get anything you want. What is now your goal in life, and what do you want now? And he looked at me like I had, caca coming out of my head.
Yeah.
He goes, another billion.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his thing, getting another billion.
Like it's never enough.
Yeah, it's never enough. And that's why these corporations, this is what bothers me. So I love when people say, oh, I don't know what happened to the economy or the money. And it's like now 6 of the top healthcare companies have just passed $1 trillion in revenue.
Yep.
Trillion, not a billion, trillion in revenue. And we wonder why our healthcare costs are so much. I mean, It's unbelievable, but that's for another story.
Yeah, it feels like it's a race to see who could get every penny from everyone. And I see that. And it's the end user that always gets screwed, like when they have to cut back on something, it's like they don't cut back. Like casinos they're gonna lay off a bunch of employees because it's slow. Well, why don't you get rid of the 10 highest paid guys, because it's a customer service industry. You need the customer service. The customers will come maybe if you service them. Those 10 guys don't service the customers. Yeah. So I never understood, but Wall Street likes when you get rid of 1,000 people and save that money. But you could get rid of 10 people and save the same amount of money and still service the guests. And then when people have money and want to come back, you have the reputation, and you were treating people right when they were down. That's an old show business thing. Treat them well on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down. And so, businesses don't do that. Yeah. You see it like with the cable companies. Oh, we'll give you $20. You get your modem for a year, whatever it is. And then you're with them for a couple of years. You're like, hey, you raised my price. Can you get it to drop back down to something with the new people are getting? Oh, no. Can we get that's for new people? Okay. Well, what about what I used to pay? Oh, no, no, no. You've been with us for a while. You're a valued customer. You're going to pay more? Like, how does that make
Yeah,
sense?
unbelievable.
They know how
Now,
to get the customer. They don't know how to keep the customer.
yeah,
True.
now not everything is a ripoff in Las Vegas. You work at
Nope.
a wonderful place that is affordable, and why don't you discuss it? And you're a comedian, you're also a comedian, stand-up comedian. So why don't you talk about this special place? Because now it has food. They've moved to a different area. People are raving about it. Why don't you
Thank
talk
you.
about it?
Well, I do a lot of work at Delirious Comedy Club. I'm one of House MCs there. I'll be there this weekend. Actually, I'll be there tonight.
Yep.
Tonight, tomorrow, and Friday. Delirious Comedy Club. It's in the back of Hennessy's, which is at Fremont Street and Las Vegas Boulevard. We do a very cost efficient comedy show, and it's a straight comedy show. Headliner, couple of guest comedians, and an opener. And it's funny. It's not dirty. There is adult themes. I would say it's R-rated, but not a lot of F-bombs or offensive material. Uh, uh, and the ticket prices are, $40. The food there is very affordable, excellent, and it's good. And the drink prices are, it's not outrageous. You're not going to have to get a second mortgage to pay for it. And it's been so successful, they're opening to a second location at Silver Sevens, which is off strip, but it's right near the Virgin, which used to be the Hard Rock, over at Paradise and Flamingo. And same thing. Comedians, just straight comedy like you used to have. You go to a comedy club, you want to see something funny. You don't want to see something offensive. You don't want to see something political. You just want to get away out of your head for an hour, 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
that's what
Just
we
want to
do.
laugh.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you're either laughing or you're crying these days. And
Yeah.
I prefer
Now,
laughing. So,
Yes.
what I love about it too is that you have food there, you have everything. It's a one-stop shop. I took someone to see Carrot Top.
oh, yeah.
It was $425 for two drinks and the show. I wanted to kick Carrot Top. I thought, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, that's not up
Spending
to
this
him.
much money. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's a
you
nice guy.
can't. Yeah, he is, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. But it's just ridiculous what the prices are, and what I love about the Delirious Comedy Club is it's affordable. It has great
Yeah.
quality, and it's good food. It's obviously it's Vegas, so you're going to pay a little bit higher price. But the thing is, it's not going to price gouge you. It's not going to break
Yeah.
the bank, and it's a good time out. Good time,
Yeah.
good
Oh,
night.
yeah. Thanks. You're
And
not
if you've
paying
never,
$30 for a hamburger, so that's a good
yeah.
thing. And
Good.
the beers, they have it's a Irish pub, so they have all kinds of things. Now at the Silver Sevens, they're going to have like $3 shots, and they're going to have all kinds of other stuff because their marketing strategy at that property, that casino, is to be more Vegas local and be even more affordable, like affordable luxury off the strip. I wouldn't call it luxury, but affordability off the strip. Uh, and it's a beautiful room, and it's the same theory. You just put good comedy up there. They'll make you laugh, uh, just like the old days, just like you used to see on A&E Evening at the Improv, just like the HBO shows and specials. Nothing that's gonna um, rock the boat a little. It's Vegas. You can't, you don't want to lose half the crowd by doing something too much.
Sure.
So
Yeah, it's a lot of competition, so they want to make sure that they get and
yeah, the
darn
reviews have been great. So if you go to like
yeah,
on Google, you'll see all the good reviews on Delirious Comedy Club. So I think
That's
we're doing
awesome.
something right. Yeah.
yeah, it's good. And also, what I wanted to ask you is that uh, Fremont Street is considered kind of the old Las Vegas, and the Strip is kind of the glitzy place. What are with now? I think the Tropicana got demolished for the A's, the new A's
Yeah.
stadium. One, have you seen any? Has there been any building there? Because I hear all these crazy stories. Nothing's happened. Something's happened. It's halfway. I mean, I just hear all this stuff. And what is the Vegas vibe about the A's? Are they
It is.
excited or? How
Well,
is
they're
it?
turning dirt at the properties, so no one's sure if they're turning dirt to make the stadium or if they're just making another casino. They say they're making the stadium. I think Fisher has the financing. The owner has the financing that's necessary for his portion of it. I personally, I think most people think that that corner is so busy that it's kind of a waste to put a 30,000, and I think it's only a 33,000 seat stadium right there, which
Yeah.
is almost across the street from the hockey stadium that we have, and around the corner from the 65,000 seat football stadium. I just don't see how you're going to be able to be profitable with only 33,000 seats unless you're charging a ridiculous amount of money for the seats. Doesn't make sense to me. It should be closer to 38, 40,000 for a baseball stadium, but that's neither here nor there. Now, the vibe is on the downside, I would say. Most people are like, oh, it's not that they don't necessarily want baseball. I don't think they don't want that team or that owner.
Yeah.
It was kind of that way with football. Like, I don't know if we want to spend tax money on a stadium, but the tax money is from a room tax. So
Yeah.
no one, unless you're getting a room, you're not paying for it. So to complain about taxes going up is wrong. But the football stadium has been a boon. I mean, on weekends, especially in November and December when it's slow, if there's a game in town, the town is busy. People coming from all over, whether it's to watch the visiting team or to watch the Raiders. Raiders have a huge fan base, especially in LA, that come to the games. Like when the Pittsburgh Steelers are here, it's all Steeler fans in there. I'd say it's 60 to 70% Steeler fans. The Bears
Yeah.
are playing there. It's going to be 50% at least. So that's been a boon. Plus all the concerts they have. That's been great. I don't see that for the baseball stadium. I think most people don't see that either. And that corner is such a valuable corner for casino gaming and entertainment. Why you would put on 10 acres of that corner a baseball stadium that's only going to have 81 subpar games. I don't know why they would do that. Now we have a beautiful minor league baseball stadium on the west side that
Yeah.
has the A's AAA team, and they draw about 4,000 fans a night. It's a nice experience. It's a good if you like baseball. It's it's minor league, so but I mean it's still guys you've seen in the majors or will see, and it's people support that. I don't know if they're going to come and support this A's team. Now the stadium will be filled because if the Yankees are playing, there are a lot of Yankee
Yeah.
fans in town, that live here, so that's going to happen. But other than that, I don't see them building a huge A's I don't see there's not a lot of A's fans here currently. And I don't see them building a fan base of people of that. There were already a lot of Raiders fans here to begin with. It's football, so it's a whole different animal, and it's not like the hockey team where it was like, well, this is weird, hockey in the desert, and we could kind of, as a community, surround the team of these weird Canadian and European people. It's a different thing. I don't see it happening. 81 games is a lot to ask of someone to pay for a season ticket.
God, I've already heard.
Yeah.
What's funny is the teams don't like to disclose. You literally have to go through hoops just to get the pricing. I actually asked the pricing, and they're saying already that they're thinking of doing seat licenses, commensurate to the NFL. And I mean,
It'll never
God,
work.
it's insane. And
Yeah.
but the problem with all these new stadiums and all this moving is it's destroyed home field advantage. The Raiders, I couldn't believe it last year. The sports books said for the first time in our history, we're not giving them any points for
No.
being a home team because they're getting out crowded. And that's where the Raiders are going to make Mark Davis is going to make hand over fist. And the Raiders and the NFL is going to make hand over fist because, like you said, when the 49ers are in town, the Steelers, the Cowboys, it becomes a away game,
Yeah,
and then the
it
Raiders
does.
invade the Chargers. The Raiders will outdo the Chargers. I mean, it's just absolutely all these stadiums. Buffalo, I think those fans are going to get a real whiff of what this is all about. They paid $900 million in tax dollars for that stadium, and the seat licensing. That is a blue collar place, and it's going to be so corporate. It's just going to change. It's sad. I don't like it. I think the Raiders. But if you're an owner and you're Mark Davis and you say, should I have a home field advantage at Oakland and make a tenth of what I can make, or go to Vegas and print money? So he's going to go
it's
to
back
Vegas.
to making as much money as you can, and it makes every
Yeah.
team in the league more valuable. And What are people willing to pay? They're willing to pay for a seat license. The seat license also is like a piece of property, so you get to sell it it's like a piece of property. But so there's value to it, but um, that's just the finance. It's just how it works. If people are willing to pay it, it it's going to happen. And until people stop paying it, it's just going to go. For years, I didn't go to a baseball game because I thought the tickets were too high. And last couple of years, I've gone a couple of times because I've been traveling. And like, all right, I guess I'm here. I'll do it. But if I'm not, when they're here, I'm not going to do it for sure. I'm not going to pay to see a game. I just feel it's too expensive, and there's no value to it to me.
Yeah, I don't want to give a billionaire more money.
Yeah,
It's just all,
that's how.
True.
Like it's like voting with your wallet. That's
yeah.
kind of how I do it. I'm not willing to pay that, so I'm not buying it. So that's just
And that's
how
the
I
only
operate.
voice. That's the only voice people have, and they don't
Yeah.
realize that you could do all your protests and all that. They could care less. I'm a
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur fan in the EPL and the English Premier League, and my God, their owner, he waits until the last second to pay for players, and they're the ninth most richest club in the world. They are printing money at that new Tottenham stadium. They just had Beyonce do a bunch of concerts last year, and the NFL goes there, and now they want to go there more regularly. They're printing money, but they're always claiming how broke they are and they can't
Right.
get better players. So it's unbelievable. But I think it's going to be interesting. And what makes me sick, you want to talk about a success story. Mark Davis has never had a full-time job in his life. And he knew so little about football. His father never had him involved. The biggest thing he ever did was a T-shirt sale for the Raiders that he did with some of the other PR people. Can you imagine you're 60 years old and you never had a job and you just got this from your dad?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about the life of Riley.
Oh,
Yeah, they say he's a pretty nice guy. He did
Yeah.
buy the women's basketball team, the Aces,
Yeah.
and they've won 2 championships. So,
Yeah.
and he built them their own facility. So they're one of the few NBA teams that have their own facility. So as an owner, I think the players like him. Like he gets that. He seems to get how to do things, except he doesn't have necessarily hasn't hired the right people to run his football team. But otherwise, it's not
Yeah,
that
the
easy.
Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders. Last time they won a Super Bowl, Reagan was president.
Yeah,
So
it's
wow.
not that easy. The league, it's not easy. We think it's easy. It's kind of like we all think it's easy until you have to do the work, and you're like, oh my God, I had no idea how hard it was. I think we're seeing people working within government that had been on podcasts commenting about how they would do things, and now they have the opportunity to do things, and they don't realize how hard it is, and they're overwhelmed.
yeah,
And
or
I
they do
think,
the opposite.
or they do the opposite, right? Or they just lie. And I think
Yeah,
I think I would have that because I mean we stand around on dead blackjack and craps games going, if I ran this casino, I would do this, I would do that. And then one day, one of us will run the casino and we're like, oh my God, it's not that easy.
oh, running a business is rough. But
Yeah.
where do you think? Last question, Keith. Where do
Okay.
you think the direction of Las Vegas is? Do you think it's now at the point where they realize now they can't get any more money out of people? Do you think it's going to start bring prices are never going to plummet, but do you think it's going to be more affordable? Do you think it's going, or do you think it's just going to stay the same and this is now the normal?
Well, they're going to have to step back a bit. I mean, there's never going to be like $5 and $10 blackjack games at places like MGM Grand because they can't make a living off of that. Affordability, will there be what they used to do with the loss leaders of having like $7 steaks and cheap buffets and stuff like that? I don't know if I don't think they'll go back to that, but I think they've seen Vegas fatigue because they transform themselves into an event place, right? So you had a hockey team win a championship, you had F1 come here, football team come here, a Super Bowl, NFL draft. There was all these things within a short period of time coming right out of COVID, where everyone was pent up and had all this extra cash laying around, and so the casinos went nuts, and we have to make our money back from the months we were closed, and then people got like Vegas fatigued, and then when they they may have had a bad experience with all the fees and it was too expensive, and now they're not willing to pay them. Even if they didn't have a bad experience, they're not willing to pay them. So they're going to have to come back a little bit on some of this stuff, on resort fees, or give them value for it. Oh, well, for a resort fee, you get this, or combined stuff. You get the resort fee and parking for this much. You know what I mean? And I understand the reason why they have paid parking now. It's because you have events on the strip where, big concerts at the arenas where you don't want them parking in the casino parking garages for free. So I understand that, but you don't need to have paid parking 24/7. You could do it for free on Monday through Thursday, and only on event weekends do something. That's how it used to be at the convention center. You could park for free anytime or over in there. But when they had a big convention, it was $25. Okay, well, it's just for the convention. They're not going to do that. They're just going to see how much you're willing to pay, and they're learning now. People aren't willing to pay. They just aren't. So if they don't come back, they're going to have to completely change their business model. Either close places. I think we'll see a retraction. I think one or two places are going to close, and someone will come in and try to, rerun it or do something better. And they're just going to have to learn the hard way. Another problem is the casino executives move from place to place to place. They run one place into the ground, get fired, then they get hired at another place. Why would you hire a guy that failed over there? But they seem to keep doing that until that stopped. Oh, they have the experience. Well, why don't you pay a guy half as much that has no experience and could do half as good of a job, because that guy ran you into the ground. I just see a retraction in things,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, you know what, Keith? We absolutely love you. You've been a
I
friend to
love
the
you guys
show
too.
for years. You have the best stories. We could listen to
Oh,
you
thanks.
forever.
Oh, thanks.
And we
I could
really
talk forever.
we really appreciate you coming today and joining our
Thank you.
live. And we want to thank everyone who joined in as well and who's watching this. We really appreciate all the support. Please follow Funny Keith Lyle. He's on Twitter, he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on TikTok, he's everywhere. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, and remember the Delirious Comedy Club.
Yes.
Comedy Club.
Some of you never go to. A lot of people have said I've never really been to a comedy club. It is fun.
So fun.
and
You'll have a
it
good
is-
time. We don't pick on
Yeah,
people. Usually, we just sit
Yeah.
and tell jokes. It's all jokes.
Yeah, it's fun, and you get a bite to eat, get sit at get a drink, and have a good time. I think once you get going to some of these comedy clubs, you're just going to have a fun time. Also, we did a thing that is funny. It's starting to gain popularity on YouTube. We're going to have Keith back, and we did a mistake, I think, last time when we did. We are going to do top 5 for each one of us movies, Italian movies, mob movies that people don't know about. And we made a mistake. I think we did the obvious ones, and we already know the obvious ones. Yeah, the Godfather and all those. But there are some movies, mob movies, that I still watch that when I tell people, they just go, I don't even know what you're talking about. And they're amazing. So we're going to do that, and we're going to dedicate that show to the Sopranos group on Twitter, because they're so kind and they have such a great channel.
The Sopranos Club.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're great.
Wonderful.
And we're gonna have Keith back in September sometime, and we're gonna do that show. And I'm telling you, we had so much fun doing that, and I think that you guys will enjoy it too. And we thank you again, Keith. You have a great day, and he's going to be at the Delirious Comedy Club tonight. And make sure that you go check him out. I'm telling you, don't go to some of these rip-off shows. God, some of these performers, I mean, they're okay, but I'm telling you, when you go there, you'll be hooked, and it'll be a regular thing. Especially you guys that don't take your wives out. If you live in Las Vegas, get out there. My gosh,
you'll have fun.
Yeah, great time. So Keith, have a great day, and everyone else have a great day, and have a great week.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.